welcome to a godly home. So I'm going to be making two types of lasagna, a veggie lasagna and a regular lasagna. I'm not Italian. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but I'm going to show you the way that I do it. And I've never had any complaints on my regular lasagna. And the veggie lasagna, I've been studying some different recipes, and then I have my own twist and idea for it, and we'll create that together and see how that turns out. All right, let's get going. So I have back there my pasta pot on with my water with oil and salt. And now I'm going to cook a pound of hamburger on medium heat. Now, I am not using the full pound of hamburger in this lasagna because we're having all that cheese in there, which is protein, and it's just a waste of ingredients to put a full pound of hamburger in. We don't need that much protein, and this will save us a little money. But what I am going to do is cook the full pound at once and take half out because my son Jacob would like to have some pre-cooked hamburger that he could use for some taco salads this week. And we all know that, at least in my area, the price of beef is going quite high. And I'm kind of curious about this because I've been having to buy from my store the organic grass-fed beef, and here's why. My store, when I buy their regular ground beef, it has been right full of bits of bone lately, like to the extreme that if I make a hamburger, one hamburger, I'm getting 4 pieces of bone in that one piece of hamburger, and the hamburger has a really strange smell and taste to it. So we voted as a family that we're going to get this more expensive hamburger, but we're going to cut it way back the way that we used to when we didn't have a lot of grocery money, so that it's not actually costing us anymore, but the meat will be better because we can't do any more of that with the bone in there, and we don't have a lot of options for grocery stores. We have just 2 stores, and they're 17 miles away from us, and neither one of them are having good hamburger. So please comment below. I'm curious if this is just a thing that's going on in my area or if this is going on everywhere. Okay, to that ground beef, you already know what I'm going to say. Just a little bit of the Dollar Tree seasoning salt. Not too much because that cheese is going to be salty. Just like that. And a little bit of pepper. Break it up just a little bit. We are waiting for this hamburger to cook. We're going to get the filling started for our veggie lasagna. Now I am going to make the veggie lasagna just in a bread pan because this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that my husband likes regular lasagna. He's not going to be interested in the veggie lasagna. So I'm going to make a 9x13 for him of the regular lasagna. And I'm going to leave a few of the noodles out for me, enough to do a bread pan of the veggie lasagna. So if you want to do a whole 9x13 pan, then for the veggie lasagna, you will want an additional full box of shells, and then I'll talk about how many vegetables you would want as we get that filling started. All right, so in my cast iron pan. I decided I want to brown these veggies and I want to do it in the cast iron pan because that will give them, I think, a little bit more color and a little better flavor than if I just steamed them or put them in a regular pan. So I've got a tablespoon of oil. Let me scoot you kind of in between so you can see both. I got a tablespoon of oil. I'm going to start that heating up on 2 just while I'm getting stuff prepared here. Okay, I've got one of these zucchinis, which we know from my produce $1 or less haul. This is $1. And I'm going to junk this up and put it right in there. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, now that I've got the zucchini junked up, I'm going to say if you're doing a 9x13 pan, plan on 2 of those zucchinis. Okay, now I have the onion left over from our Italian sandwiches that I did for our picnic in the main adventure video. If you haven't seen that, check that out. We had so much fun. We did that yesterday. All right, so I'm going to pop in the ones that are pre-cut to start with. And now I'm going to go ahead and slice this up. So this is a half an onion. And I think if you're slicing this thin, this is plenty even for the 9x13. If I get too many veggies for my bread pan, it won't be a problem. I'll eat them left over, just the veggies, but I just love veggies. That's like my favorite thing. By the way, I used olive oil. I picked some up for something special I was making, and if you don't have olive oil, use whatever you have for oil, butter, margarine. If you don't need it to be vegetarian, then, hamburger grease, bacon grease, whatever. Okay, so next we got this carrot, and I'm going to go ahead and wash and peel this using a carrot peeler. If you don't have a carrot peeler or a produce peeler, you can peel it just running your knife across it. I had to do that for a long time, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I've got this peeled and the ends cut off, and I'm just going to slice this up thin right into my pan. Okay, maybe 2 of these carrots for a 9 by 13. Okay, then I picked up a bag of the chopped frozen spinach. This was much cheaper than buying it fresh and not as soggy as buying it canned for this. Okay, that was half the bag. So if you're doing a 9 by 13, go ahead and use the whole bag. All right, now that I have all of my veggies in here, I am going to go ahead and turn this up to number 6 on an electric stove or medium on a gas stove. And I am going to add a little of the seasoning salt, more than I did the hamburger, and a little bit of pepper. The reason why I went ahead and used more salt in that is I want to show you. I'm going to be using the cottage cheese in the regular lasagna. That's my husband's preference. And the sodium count is 420 milligrams. Now in mine, I'm going to be using the ricotta. By all means, though, you don't need to buy both. I did because I'm going to just put these in the freezer for the next time, but you can just use one or the other. They're interchangeable, really, in my opinion. Okay, so the sodium in this is 65 milligrams, and I am supposed to watch my sodium because of a heart valve problem. So for me, I have the money in my budget, and I can get this and use a little from it, pop it in the freezer, pop his cottage cheese in the freezer, and it works out fine. Okay, so we're going to let those veggies cook. Check our hamburger. So yesterday on our main adventure video there, every once in a while it just feels like I get this day and it's like God just orchestrated the whole thing. We had had other plans for the weekend and it wasn't going to work out. And we just kind of got up that morning and thought, let's see if my parents are available. And if they are on that short of a notice, let's do a four-wheeler trip. And we didn't even know where we wanted to go yet. We just wanted to start by first making sure they were available before we made too many plans. And my husband decided where we were going to go, and we just had the most wonderful day. The weather couldn't have been any better. Everybody's four-wheelers run good. You know, sometimes you go out and they don't. And we just had this great picnic. And then if you watch the video, the butterfly thing that happened, it just was so fantastic. And I have to be honest with you, if it had just been us going out for the day, I never would have bothered to bring my camera and get the footage because I had to ride on a four-wheeler holding on with one hand with a tripod setting on my thigh and then holding that with the other hand to steady it. And it wasn't like that comfortable, but I knew that you guys would really, really enjoy seeing what we were doing. So I did that. And then I edited that video for, from 9 o'clock at night to 2:30 in the morning in order to figure out what to do with all of that footage. I had so much footage, I didn't even need all of what I had, but it was super fun anyways, and I love being able to share it with you guys. So let me know either under the comments of this video or that video if you enjoyed that, if that's something you'd like to see more of, because if it is, then we'll probably get by for the summer with me using my telephone like I have been. But if it's a hit, then we'll probably invest in a GoPro for our outdoor things like that to make it a little bit easier on me. So anyhow, these things are cooking up pretty good, and we'll check back in a minute. Burger's done, and remember, we're only going to use a half a pound, so I am going to go ahead and put half in here for taco salads this week. And my son will just season his hamburger the way he wants it when he's ready. He'll probably pop it into the microwave or into a pan long enough to heat it up, and then he has his own special taco seasoning he likes to make. He doesn't like to use those packets, and after having his, I don't like to use those packets either. Maybe I can get him to do a little video for us on his taco seasoning. It's awfully good. Okay, that's about half, and that is plenty for the casserole. Okay, let's see what's going on here. The vegetables are looking good. We got the water boiling. I cook these lasagna noodles for the least amount of time on the box. So we're using store brand, and I do not like the no-boiled noodles. If you use those and you do, leave a comment below if you do something special, if you add extra liquid or whatever you do. I just boil the plain old regular lasagna noodles, and we're going to do that for 10 minutes. Oh, you guys can't even see the pot here. I forgot to say to you guys when I was telling you the story about my tripod on my leg out on the four-wheeler. I'm so glad that I have this channel and that it is keeping me doing those things, because as I was telling my husband, can you imagine, like, many years later when we have that footage of our family out on that day? That is going to be so special. And if it wasn't for you guys and this channel and me trying to share with you, I just wouldn't have bothered, and then we would have been without having this wonderful family video. So I am so blessed by having you guys on this channel, and I have made a special friend on this channel, and it is just amazing the friendship that God has orchestrated, and I can't wait to see how many more friendships come out of this channel, whether it's people being friends with me or viewers being friends with each other. I think it's going to be exciting. Okay, I got the timer set on the noodles, and look at how good that looks. Wow. Okay, now you're going to put some mushrooms in this too. Now, if you have canned mushrooms, drain them, and when you put the lasagna layer in, go ahead and add them in there. I mean, the vegetable layer in the lasagna, go ahead and add them in there. If you want to use fresh mushrooms, then just about the time that these vegetables are almost done, I would add those in. The only mushrooms I have on hand are my home dehydrated ones. And I didn't realize when I was dehydrating those that my husband has a severe mushroom allergy, like breathing them. So I have not been able to use any fresh mushrooms or any dehydrated mushrooms near him. He just coughs himself to death. You guys could probably hear him coughing a lot in the background in general. He is having terrible allergies. So anyhow, I won't be adding those, but you add those if you can add those. If I had canned mushrooms, I could get away with those, but I don't think I do. Maybe I should go check my cupboard again. Okay, look at those veggies. The carrots are a little bit soft when I poke them with the fork, so we're going to call that good on cooking the veggies. My timer's going off on the noodles. I'm going to go ahead and drain these, but not rinse them. I'm just going to drain them and let them cool down on their own. I like them to be so sticky that I have to pull them apart. Okay, now we're going to mix up the filling for the regular lasagna. I am going to, for the regular lasagna, put half of this big cottage cheese, or one regular size cottage cheese. It's quite a bit cheaper for me if I buy the larger one. I always make a mess when I try to do this stuff on the camera. I just spilled cottage cheese on my stove. Okay, and then to that, I'm going to add 1 egg. This regular lasagna recipe is my recipe that I have used for, oh goodness, at least 20 years. But the veggie one is the experimental one. All right, and to that, we are going to add some pepper. I was looking for my spurtle. I didn't think to lay it out. Okay, pepper. Okay, and 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. I'm using from the bulk package of Kraft. Okay. That is our filling. Go ahead, set that aside. Clean up my cottage cheese mess. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for the veggie lasagna using the ricotta cheese, but I am going to use maybe just oh, let's say a quarter of a cup of each. Excuse me. Okay, well, maybe not with the ricotta. Let's do a half a cup of each. We don't want to have more egg with 2 cheese. Oh, okay. Okay, I gotta shut the camera off. I can't stir this. That one mixes up a little harder, but that's what it looks like. Now, every single time I make a spaghetti sauce and we have a little sauce left and we've used all the spaghetti, I put it in this jar. Every time I make a pizza and we have leftover sauce, I put it in this jar. And so I always have leftover sauce to use. So I'm going to use my jar of leftover sauce. If you do not have one of these, then go ahead and get yourself 2 cans of this. You probably won't use quite all of it, but you'll definitely use more than one of these. And add a couple tablespoons of sugar. I am going to heat this sauce up just a little bit. Normally I would start this as soon as the hamburger was done, but because I was filming plus doing 2 types of lasagna and all of that, it didn't happen. And I put it in the freezer. So like if I had a half a cup of spaghetti sauce left from spaghetti, I put it in there, put it in the freezer. Then the next time, let's say I have a cup left from pizza, I get that jar out, run it under the hot water long enough to just get the cover off and pour it in there, put it back in the freezer. And then if I want it suddenly for something, I put it in the microwave with the cover off and defrost it. Okay, that jar was a plastic couscous jar. I don't think I would dare take a frozen glass jar out and put it into the microwave. I need to remember to clarify these things. Okay, so I'm just going to warm that sauce through just a little bit. It won't take long. If the sauce is warm through, it just cooks faster in the oven. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on 375 because it's 5 o'clock. And I know my husband really needs to eat, and I'm running late because I'm cooking double things. I'm videoing, I'm commenting on YouTube. You know how it is. Okay, I don't have much counter space, so I have this pan squeezed in between my stove and my sink. So if you see anything in my sink, I have been chucking everything in there while I'm doing this video, and I apologize. All right, so we're going to put just a little bit of grease in this pan. My hands are clean. I've been washing them non-stop before cooking and during cooking. Okay. My sauce is sizzling. Okay, I'm going to start by putting just a little bit of this sauce into the bottom. The reason why I don't rinse my noodles and I don't overcook my noodles is I think that helps hold the lasagna together better. Okay, we'll lay a layer right down in the bottom there. And then I'm just going to trim right there. And that one is going to have to go that direction. Now I like to get 2 layers on that bottom so that it's not all a flop when we go to cut it, because it'll have all that weight. So this time I'm going to start the long ones over that short one. And then we'll lay the short one in. Okay, now to that, I'm going to go ahead and add my entire cottage cheese, egg, and mozzarella cheese mixture that I made. I love cooking this for my husband's family. They just love when I make them a lasagna. Okay. Get all of that in there. And I don't like to put any sauce on top of that. I like that to be like just the way it is. Then I'm going to come along and I'm going to start on this end, because remember we had the short on that end before. Okay. One short. Now I'm going to pour all of this sauce right over the top. And if you're using those cans of sauce, and I told you you'll need more than one, what you're looking for is you don't want this sauce so high it's going to boil over. But you want to let that sauce kind of get down in those edges there. You want everything so that the sauce is covering really well. Okay, I'm going to open that other one up and give it just a touch more. And I'm not going to sweeten it. I'm just going to pour it from this can because I already had the one in my freezer sweetened. All right. Okay, so about like that. It's good and covered. Okay, now I'm going to put another cup of mozzarella cheese right on top of that. You're not. Jacob, can you tell him his hamburger is done and on the table? Okay, we're going to pop that into the oven. How long it takes is going to depend on if you had your sauce hot or not. And if you did not have your sauce hot, go ahead and cover this. I am going to not cover it because everything is already hot basically in it except for the cheese. You'll know when it's done. You will smell it really well, and it will be bubbling and it will be brown. Okay. Okay, and now for the veggie one. Here we go. We are going to start with a jar of this Prego Alfredo. Now, you can get this in a can at Dollar Tree. I paid, I want to say like maybe $1.69.89 for this into the grocery store, but I couldn't get into Dollar Tree. I didn't have a chance, so we're just going to use this. And I am going to pour a little bit in the bottom. I thought about making the Alfredo sauce from scratch, but the fresh Parmesan cheese was a lot more expensive, and I really didn't have anything else I was going to be using that on, and my freezer was already stuffed full, so I thought, well, this makes it easier for the viewers and a little bit more frugal. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put my noodles in. Get an idea of length. Yeah, I'm going to trim a little bit off of each one of those. Okay. And we'll go ahead and do that second layer. Because we want the strength on the bottom. Remember, I'm using just from that one box. That one box will do that 9x13, and it will do this. Okay. Now I am going to put my veggie in there. I am going to put it all because I have the whole deepness of this bread pan, and I am a veggie fanatic. But you can see it is a lot. And remember to put your mushrooms in at this step if you're able to use mushrooms. And I'm just going to pack it down tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my entire ricotta, mozzarella cheese, and egg mixture right on top. Okay, now whatever I have left for noodles, I'm just going to stick them on there, however many that may be. All right, now I am going to pour a bunch of sauce on top of that. And I'm going to use the whole jar, whatever was left. I don't normally show you guys videos that I haven't made like a lot throughout the years because I don't want to steer you in a direction of something that's not good, but I have made so many lasagnas that I am confident that this veggie one is going to be fabulous. I'm just going to kind of lift that off the side a little and just let some of that sauce go down in there. Okay, wiping my edge off, and to that I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese over the top. Okay, there it is. I put a little extra cheese on mine because I'm not having any of the meat in mine. All right, we'll pop that in the oven. While that stuff is in the oven, the first thing I do after putting my dishes into the sink is I take a minute and I wipe the top of my stove off because I don't want all those spills all baked on while that oven's going. I want to try to keep any splatters or anything all wiped down. Okay, that will make it a much easier when I go to clean up. Here I go, starting a new sauce jar. This one is a Parmesan cheese container. Always save these things. Okay, there is the regular lasagna. Doesn't that look fabulous? Okay, there is the veggie one. I didn't get a picture of it when I put it out on my plate. There was a lot of commotion going on and we were super hungry and we just ate. But there you can see it sliced in the pan and see how good it looks. This was so good. I hit it right on. Like, I would not do anything any different. This was delicious. But if you're making a 9x13 pan of this, I'm thinking that's about 3 bread pans, so probably triple my recipe. Plan on the 3 jars of sauce. And so anyways, so good. And my husband ate 3 pieces of his and is planning on having it for supper tomorrow night when I make the Salisbury steak. All right, guys, if you do either of these, a full 9x13, use the whole box of noodles. I was just trying to stretch a little bit and not end up opening up a second box of noodles where, you know, we were just doing it where he was going to have one kind and I was going to have the other, but you guys know what I mean. All right, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the support on this channel. Like and subscribe. Bye.